this is Ed again, and the date is Wednesday, the 24th of June, 2020. By the way, it reminds me in one other video, I said it was July 2020, which is kind of impossible. It hasn't happened yet. So I'm sure anybody listening to that video would say, this guy's crazier than he looks, if that's possible. And okay, today I was talking to my son about these videos, and I'm really concerned about, well, a couple of things. Sometimes I think maybe I go too long because I start rambling, and, you know, it's part of my thing. With my age, by the way, I'm 80 years old, so you have to give me a little bit of room there. So yeah, maybe I tend to repeat myself a little bit, or forget what I've said, or forget where I am, or something like that. Anyway, today I've got a basic idea that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the connection between superstition and fear, particularly. Now, there's other things involved there. You know, this, my video site is called Atheist, a Bird with No Cage, and so what we're most concerned about is the idea of atheism, and that it's different from religious thought. I mean, when I talk about religion, I'm talking about superstition. And of course, at least the religions that we know, like the biggest religions in the world, Christianity and the Islamic religion, they also use a lot of fear. But at first I was thinking of my point is that there's fear, superstition, religion, and what else? But the problem is, I don't even need to mention religion, because religion is superstition, just by definition. It's believing in things that don't exist as far as we observe and experience it in the world. That there are no gods or angels or devils and those sort of things. And most of the religions, at least, I don't know about Buddhism, some Buddhists don't even believe in any deity. Some of them may think that Buddha is kind of a magic guy, but they don't necessarily even have any of that kind of superstition. But pretty much all forms of Buddhism believe in reincarnation, and that's totally superstition. There's no way that we can demonstrate or investigate the possibility of that. It just doesn't make any sense. It is superstition. I guess one could make an argument that things that were once superstition may become real. I don't have an example of that kind of thing. But for instance, the idea that we change our mind about things, we don't know about certain things. And it wasn't that long ago, and I've done this before, but it wasn't that long ago. I mean, maybe 100 or more years ago, that pretty much everybody on the planet believed that the sun goes around the earth. And now we know, and I put that in scare quotes, easy for you to say. But I mean, I think it's fair to say that we know that the earth goes around the sun, not the other way around, despite what it looks like when we look at it. But again, I guess the reason that I've got so much into this thing about superstition and fear is because that's a huge part, my argument is, of what's going on right now with this pandemic. I've said before, it actually exists. There's no doubt in my mind that there is a thing called, the coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it. But after that, superstition and fear take over. And the fear, I remember a long, long time ago dealing with the idea of fear, and it seems to me that all fear maybe is rooted in the idea of death. Maybe not, because other animals besides humans experience fear. If a lion is chasing a rabbit, I don't know if lions and rabbits exist together, but if a lion is chasing his prey, the prey no doubt experiences fear. And in that case, the fear is not connected with death. And I don't know how those animals process that. It just seems to be a natural reaction that animal is dangerous because of some experience they've had and so on. So I guess maybe one of the things that I can investigate a little bit more is, what's the difference between the fear I experience, and I don't claim to be free of fear. If somebody points a gun at me, it scares the shit out of me, no doubt. But I don't have a fear of dying, and yet the guy's pointing the gun at me. What is it I'm fearing? I don't know. I can't explain it. And fear is a natural thing. I mean, it's part of evolution. It evolved. I mean, we evolved partly because we responded to fear. The animals that heard a noise and decided they were going to run, whether they knew what it was or not, they survived on a slightly better rate than the animals that thought, if they go, well, yeah, there's a noise, a rustling in the bushes or whatever, could be an animal that wants to prey on me, wants to eat me. But if you waited around to see, well, I'm going to investigate and see if no, you run. The ones that didn't run just go, well, it's nothing to be afraid of, didn't survive. So fear is a naturally evolved thing. So I'm okay with that part of it, but the problem is the connection between fear and superstition, because people fear things that do not make any sense. I mean, here in Mexico, we got crazy fears like chupacabra and el coco or mal ojo. Mal ojo means, well, the word just say the bad eye, but there's this kind of belief that there's some people or something that if they look at you or they stare at you a certain way, it can cause all kinds of bad luck, that sort of thing. And of course it's just not true. There's no ground for it, but people believe it. So the superstition is real and the fear is real. But in these current times, I know certainly the fear is driving what the hell's going on. And I think all of us, we get thinking, well, the people who are at the pinnacle, the people who are politicians, doctors, researchers, and those people, we kind of think those people don't experience fear. Yes, they do. And that's the problem. The fear exists at all levels, and well, to jump to the religious thing, to make a little comparison to religion. Religion, when we don't understand things, me as a non-religious, non-superstitious person, when I don't understand something, I just say, I don't understand it. The religious folks get in this situation where they never say, I don't know. You know, who made the world? Well, God did, sort of thing. That's what they say. And the problem is, if something scary happens, or even if nothing scary happens, they believe in demons. The Christian religion, for example, most of the religious folks that I talk with, they believe in demons are just as real as their deity. So if you get to believe in demons and the deity, you're already believing in a deity. As far as I can see, he's a thug. And then besides that, you have demons, and they're supposed to be the bad ones. Well, you know, like in the Bible, what did the devil do? In one book, which book of the Bible is the story of? Oh shit! Come on out of my head. The book of the face of. Oh, I can't believe it. Most common book in the Bible. Anyways, in this book, God and the devil are talking. And God says, hey, I got my guy here, the name that I can't say. And he's loyal, and he worships me, and nothing would change his mind. And the devil basically says, oh yeah, sure. The reason he's loyal to you is you give him all this shit. Look at all that. So, if you can imagine, God goes, no, that's not the reason. He loves me because, you know, I'm such a great guy and everything. So I mean, in that book, they basically have a contest. The devil says, okay, let me take some of that shit away from him, and we'll see how long he. So it's basically a bet. It's like God and the devil are having a drink or whatever. So for me, that is the height of superstition. I mean, that book that's highly revered by most Christians is the most, come on, what's the name of the book? The Patience of Job, the book of Job. I've heard Christians say, it's the most wonderful book in the Bible. I go, wonderful. I mean, from the perspective of looking at the Bible and saying, hey guys, if I were the one editing the Bible, it's one of the first books I'd say, don't put that in there. I mean, God already looks like an idiot. In that book, in the book of Job, he is the biggest jerk. And that's the only part of the Bible where, as I can see, the devil does anything. So in the Bible, God kills at least 2 million, 2.5 million, depending on who does the research on that. That's not including the flood, or where the whole world was killed. But what'd the devil do? Killed maybe like a handful. He killed. He got to kill Job's family and maybe a few servants or whatever sort of thing. So, but still, Christians say, oh, God is the bad one and the devil's, no, God's the good one and the devil's the bad one. Well, how the hell do you decide? I mean, I don't believe either one of them exists, but if you just read the book at face value, God's a much more of a prick than the devil. Anyway, I'm wandering already. The point was that I want to talk about today is the idea of fear and superstition. And I think that there's a connection there, and it's connected to what is happening currently in the world, that we are reacting to this pandemic, this new disease that we have, with superstition and fear. That not everybody in the world, as far as I know, the only people that I know that don't have superstition or fear is my wife and myself. And I'm not sure about myself. I have a little bit. I've checked on I got a little bit of a superstition about my collars. They're my baseball collars. That it's kind of my good luck charm. So, you know, as I've said before, I purposely go without wearing my collar for several days, or go on to a store or something without wearing my collar, because I'm thinking, am I superstitious already? But anyway, as far as I know, my wife Glenn is absolutely non-superstitious, and I think I'm about as close as you can get to. By the way, I like to mention that currently I like to mention, as Ron Reagan says, he says he's a lifelong atheist, not afraid of going to hell. I'm not lifelong, because, well, I don't know. Maybe I am lifelong, because I went to church as a kid. Through my teen years, I went to a Catholic church and everything like that. But when I look back, I have no idea if I believed any of that shit. And I've already talked about that in other videos. But anyway, from my perspective now, I'm not afraid of going to hell because it doesn't exist. Heaven doesn't exist. I recently explored that one carefully in my mind. The whole idea is ridiculous. If you really think about heaven, like, how old would I be? How old would the people I meet there be? Well, you know, somebody that died a horrible death, what would they look like? What age would they be in? You know, I don't know. It doesn't exist. It's all imaginary. Gods, angels, devils, it's all imaginary. Superstition. And the date, as we already agreed, is June the 24th, 2020. And I hope that we all can get over our fear of this virus thing. And as I mean, most of the problem is fear. Yes, some people get the virus and it can end up causing their death. Actually, the virus doesn't kill anybody. Other things, that when their bodies are compromised by other things, you know, if you have other diseases, heart disease, pulmonary diseases, especially any pulmonary disease, I suppose, could make you more susceptible to serious consequences with the virus. But basically, the virus doesn't kill anybody. Fear can sure as hell kill you and make you suffer. I'm Ed. The date is June the 24th, 2020. I guess I already said that. Look out for superstition and fear. None of it's true. There's no gods. There's no hell. There's no heaven. Don't worry about it, and don't let it control your life. That's all for today. Nice talking to you. Take care. Bye.